Hello everyone, welcome back to Patil's Academy. This is Viresh Patil in front of you today. Yes, today before starting my class, my kind and humble request to all of you is that please subscribe to my channel who are not subscribed yet, and press the bell icon for more videos as well as for notifications. Yes, in this today's session, I am going to talk and discuss one of the very painful and heart-touching topic, that is tragedy. What is tragedy? Tragedy is the thing which gives a pain to our heart. Tragedy is the thing which gives us sorrowness. But in this today's session, I am going to discuss about the concept of tragedy by Aristotle. According to Aristotle, what is the meaning of tragedy? In Aristotle's views, what is the meaning of tragedy? What are all the outer structures and utmost outer senses Aristotle has given regarding the tragedy that we are going to read in this today's sessions, my dears. Okay, before starting the concept of tragedy, let me say few words about Aristotle. Aristotle, the name itself is shining everywhere, right? Till today it is shining. Aristotle was the great Greek philosopher and great man of letters also. He was great intellectual, what we can say, of Western history. He was the author of philosophical and scientific system. Aristotle's intellectual range was vast, covering the science, many arts, including biology, botany, chemistry, etc. His intellectual range covers many of the subjects, many of the arts, many of the things, what we can say. So, he also told and he also thought about tragedy to all of us, my dears. And as we know that Aristotle was the great disciple of Plato. Plato was also one of the great Greek philosophers. Aristotle was the great disciple of this Plato. And Dante says somewhere in the classical period that Aristotle was the great master. It was Aristotle who took up the challenge of Plato at the end of the Republic. Republic was the book written by Plato. In that Republic book, Plato says that poetry is twice removed from its reality. It is quite lesser than history, what he says. He says, history is the greater thing than the poetry. That is the reason Aristotle didn't agree and didn't subscribe to his master in this particular view, and he writes a book called Poetics. Being a student of literature, we have to read the book called Poetics. That is Poetics. It consists of 50 pages and 26 chapters. In that book, he clearly mentioned about the tragedy. He clearly mentioned about the poetry and other arts too, my dears. Wonderfully, he discussed and talked about tragedy in that treatise Poetics book. And this concept very particularly, which today I am going to discuss, this is very helpful for MA entrance, NET, SET, JRF, PGT, PRT, TGT, and other exams. So, let me begin my concept of today, that is tragedy. What is tragedy? The word tragedy is taken from the Greek word which roughly means goat songs. This word tragedy has been derived from the Greek word. It means goat songs. So the definition of the tragedy is very simple. According to Aristotle, tragedy means imitation of an action, what he says. And he also tells about the aim of tragedy. What is the aim of tragedy? Aim of tragedy, Aristotle writes, is to bring the catharsis. Catharsis means audience, spectators, viewers. The purpose of tragedy is to bring the catharsis, or the audience or the spectators to arouse in them the sensation of pity and fear, and purge them these emotions so that they leave the theater feeling. It means there should be something called pity and there should be something called fear in their heart, the viewer's heart. ನೋಡುಗರ ಕಣ್ಣಲ್ಲಿ ಕರುಣೆ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು, ನೋಡುಗರ ಕಣ್ಣಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ತರನಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಭಾವನೆ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು, ಇವೆರಡು ಹುಟ್ಟಿದಾಗ ಮಾತ್ರ ಆ ಟ್ರಾಜಿಡಿ ಅದರ ಒಂದು ಉದ್ದೇಶವನ್ನು ಪೂರ್ಣಗೊಳ್ತದೆ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದನ್ನು ಅರಿಸ್ಟಾಟಲ್ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾನೆ. ಇದೇ ಟ್ರಾಜಿಡಿಯ ಉದ್ದೇಶ ಆಗಿರ್ತದೆ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಮಾತನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಅರಿಸ್ಟಾಟಲ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ, ಮೈ ಡಿಯರ್ಸ್. Further, Aristotle continues and tells about the very important element of the tragedy, that is plot. What is plot then? He says that plot is the soul of the tragedy. In our body, we have a soul. Without soul, our body is useless. The same way, Aristotle says that without plot, tragedy is useless. So he tells that Aristotle describes plot as the soul of a tragedy. He says that plot should be whole and should have a magnitude. That plot should be whole and that plot should have a magnitude. What Aristotle says, he is of an opinion that plot should have an organic unity. There should be a unity in plot, what Aristotle says. And also further, Aristotle divides this plot into two types. The first very important one is simple plot and the second very important one is the complex plot. Then question rises in our mind that what is this simple plot and what is complex plot? Simple plot is the plot when the change in the fortune of the hero takes place without peripetia and discovery or anagnorisis. That is called simple plot. Plot is complex when the change in the fortune of the hero takes place with peripetia and anagnorisis or discovery is called complex plot, what Aristotle says. So then in all of our mind, the question rises that what are these two terms, peripetia and anagnorisis? Peripetia means change in the fortune of the hero, human action produce result exactly opposite to what was intended. It means the results are completely opposite to our predictions. That we are going to call as peripetia. ಇದನ್ನ ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗೋ ಥರ ಒಂದು ಫಿಲ್ಮಟೋಗ್ರಫಿ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲನ್ನು ತಗೊಂಡು ಈ ಪೆರಿಪೀಷಿಯಾ ಅಂದರೆ ಏನು ಅಂತ ನೋಡೋಣ. ಸೊ ಇವತ್ತು ಟ್ರೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಮೂವಿ KGF. ಸೊ ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯವಾಗಿ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ KGF 1 ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ 1 ನೋಡೇ ಇರ್ತೀರ. ಸೊ KGF ಚಾಪ್ಟರ್ 1 ನಾವು ನೋಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ನಮಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಒಬ್ಬ ಶೂ ಪಾಲಿಷ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಹುಡುಗ ಕಾಣ್ತಾನೆ. ಶೂ ಪಾಲಿಷ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನಂತರ ಅವನ ಜೀವನವನ್ನು ಸಾಗಿಸಿ ಅವನಿಗೊಂದು ಬನ್ ಸಿಗ್ತಿರ್ತತಿ. ಆ ಒಂದು ಬನ್ನಿಗೋಸ್ಕರ ಶೂ ಪಾಲಿಷ್ ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಜನರು ಶೂ ಪಾಲಿಷನ್ನ ಅವ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾನೆ. ಸೊ ಒಂದೇ ಸಲ ಫಿಲ್ಮ್ ನೋಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಂಗಿಲ್ಲ ಇವನ ಜೀವನದೊಳಗೆ ಮುಂದೆ ಏನು ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ಆಗ್ತತಿ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಆದ್ರೆ ಮುಂದೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಅವನು ಏನಾಗ್ತಾನೆ, ಒಬ್ಬ ರಾಕಿ ಬಾಯ್ ಆಗ್ತಾನೆ, KGFಗೆ ಓನರ್ ಆಗ್ತಾನೆ. ಇಂತಹ ಒಂದು ಅದ್ಭುತವಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ನಮಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಒಂದೇ ಸರಿ ನೋಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಆಗ್ತತಿ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. So this kind of changes when takes place in a tragedy, this is called peripetia, what we can say. ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್, ಆಲ್ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಜೋಗಿ ಮೂವಿಯನ್ನು ನೋಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ. ಜೋಗಿ ಮೂವಿ ಒಳಗೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಶಿವಣ್ಣ ಹಳ್ಳಿ ಒಳಗೆ ಒಬ್ಬ ಕುರಿ ಕಾಯ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ. ಬೆಟ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ ಕುರಿ ಕಾಯೋ ಮಾದೇಶ ಅಂತ ಹೆಸರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಕುರಿ ಕಾಯ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಾನೆ. ಯಾವುದೋ ಕಾರಣಕ್ಕೆ ಸಿಟಿಗೆ ಬರ್ತಾನೆ. ಸೊ ಸಿಟಿಗೆ ಬಂದಾಗ ಏನಾಗ್ತಾನೆ, ಅನಿವಾರ್ಯವಾಗಿ ರೌಡಿಸಮಿಗೆ ಇಳಿತಾನೆ. ಸೊ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡುಗರಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಯಾರು ಒಂದೇ ಸಲ ಮೂವಿ ನೋಡ್ತಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಕುರಿ ಕಾಯ್ಕೊಂತಾನೆ ಇರ್ಬೋದು ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಆದರೆ ಅವನ ಜೀವನದಲ್ಲಿ ಬದಲಾವಣೆಗಳಾಗ್ತವೆ. ಇಂತಹ ಅನೇಕ ಬದಲಾವಣೆಗಳು ಆಗೋದನ್ನು ಒಂದು ಟ್ರಾಜಿಡಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಏನಂತ ಕರಿತೇವೆಪ್ಪ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಪೆರಿಪೀಷಿಯಾ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೇವೆ. ಐ ಹೋಪ್ ದ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಪೆರಿಪೀಷಿಯಾ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್ ಟು ಯು ಗೈಸ್ ಬೈ these examples, my dears. Then let me speak about the concept called anagnorisis or discovery. Anagnorisis or discovery means the self-realization, the understanding of the truth, the light in the dark. ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಸತ್ಯದ ಅರಿವಾಗ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು, ತಪ್ಪಿನ ಅರಿವಾಗ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು, ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಅನಾಗ್ನರಿಸಿಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಯಾವ ಪ್ಲಾಟ್ನಲ್ಲಿ, ಯಾವ ಟ್ರ್ಯಾಜಿಡಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಎರಡೂ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಗಳು ಇರ್ತಾವೋ ಅಂತಹ ಟ್ರ್ಯಾಜಿಡಿ ಸಕ್ಸಸ್ ಕಾಣ್ತತಿ. ಅಂತಹ ಟ್ರ್ಯಾಜಿಡಿಯನ್ನು ಮಾತ್ರ ಅರಿಸ್ಟಾಟಲ್ ಪ್ರಿಫರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದನ್ನು ನಾವಿಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ಬೋದು ಮೈ ಡಿಯರ್ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸ್. ಓಕೆ, ಐ ಹೋಪ್ ದ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ peripetia and the anagnorisis are quite clear to you. And so further, Aristotle talks about the tragic hero, how the tragic hero should be. Tragic hero means he should be a hero of a balancedness. There should be balancedness in his character, what he says. He should not be too good and he should not be too bad. There should be a proper balance in him, what Aristotle says. And also further Aristotle goes on dictating, goes on telling regarding this tragedy, and he talks about the 6 axioms or 6 aspects or the 6 principles or the 6 pillars of the tragedy, or with the help of these 6 pillars only we can construct a beautiful tragedy, what Aristotle says. So those 6 pillars, let me tell you one by one. The first very important one, as I have already discussed, that is the plot. Plot is the soul of the tragedy, and there are 2 types of plot. One is simple plot and complex plot. I have already explained about these plot, my dear. And the second very important pillar of the tragedy, that is the theme. What is this theme? Theme means the main idea of the play. The main idea, the central idea of the play, we are going to call as theme, what Aristotle says. This is the second most important pillar of the tragedy. And third important pillar of the tragedy is the character. Why the character is required? Character talks about the behavior of a person. With the help of character we can tell or we can analyze the behavior of a particular person. So character is very important, what Aristotle says. This is the third pillar of the tragedy. And the fourth pillar of the tragedy is the diction. Diction means usage of language. How you use English language especially. It should be elevated one. It should be very formal. It should be very heightened, and it should be very meaningful what he says. And the fifth very important pillar of the tragedy is music or rhythm, he says. Melody of sound or speech. There should be melody of sound and speech in the language, what he says. This is the fifth very important pillar of the tragedy. And the sixth and the last pillar of the tragedy is spectacle. So the spectacle meaning is the scenery or the scenic effect which the tragedy creates. If we read or if we look the tragedy, the things and the pictures must move in front of our eyes. So this is what the scenery, or these are what the things what the Aristotle says. So this is all about the concept called tragedy, my dears. I hope tragedy concept is very important for all the students who wants to clear their exams for literature. So this concept with a filmographic examples and some more filmy concepts I have explained to you guys. I think these concepts are quite clear to you now. And at last, my kind and humble request to all of you is that whoever not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and press the bell icon for more and more videos as well as for notifications. If you have any doubt and questions regarding this video, please comment them in the comment box. Thank you everyone.